Hi, this is Tom with World Class Coaching with another in our series of animated drills. This week's drill comes from the Man City Academy, and it's a 7v7 possession activity. What I really like about this is it's not just directionless possession, it's possession with a goal. And the way this is set up, so it's 7v7 as I mentioned, so we have two teams of 7 inside a fairly large area. The size of the area will depend on the age and ability level of your players, but you could start with a 50 by 50. If they were very talented in finding open spaces, maybe 40 by 40. It also depends on what you want to accomplish. The bigger the area, the bigger the physical challenge, and the easier it's going to be on the attacking team because it's going to create space for them. The tighter the area, the harder it is going to be on the attacking team. It's going to be more technical, and they're going to have to find those tight spaces. So just depends on what you're ultimately trying to achieve. You can adjust that size of the area, just depending. Then we've got an area on the inside that's anywhere between a 10 by 10, it could be a 15 by 15. And then we have one ball, and the team in possession is trying to move that ball and find an open space where they can then find a ball that goes through this central square. So you can also have a player checking in and making a run here, and then the player on the ball is ultimately trying to find a ball that goes through this central area with a pass to a player on the other side. So that's the beginning of the activity. And what I like about this, as I said, is it's not just directionless. They have to move the ball and find that way through. It also, having this central target, gives the defending team the opportunity to defend a certain space and not just have to defend every pass on the field. They're trying to defend that through ball to this space. So, they need to have good pressure on the ball and cover to make sure that we've got somebody that's accounting for the spaces on either side of the pressuring player. And then you also have to be balanced, because if the team gets shifted too far one way, trying to deny this, then you'll find a ball that gets passed in the other direction and gets played on this side. We'll just move that arrow. And the ball gets played here instead to a player who's moved into that open space that's left. And then, as you can see, it'll be easy for a player to get on that far side and find room through the box. So this central box is there really to be penetrated. We're trying to get through that central area. So for the first progression, the ball can just be passed through that area. You could also do this where the requirement is that the ball be run through that area. So a player receives the ball and then tries to run into that area. So more of an emphasis on dribbling then. They're going to have to probably beat somebody 1v1 in order to get into that area. Then you could have the player, once they're in this area, they're free, so nobody can pressure them, and then they can make a pass out of that area to a player on the outside to continue the possession and continue the game, so they can find a ball out to that area. Now this player could, then run through if there's space. We'll just duplicate that as well. So they could run through that area if there's enough space to do it, run into that area really, and then pass their way out. So dribbling in would be another progression. Put the emphasis on dribbling and running with the ball. Very different than dribbling, whether you're running with the ball to an open space or whether you're trying to use a move to get past a defender. So that would be an additional progression. Something else you can do is actually have a player in the middle as a target. So what we could do is we could have, when the team in possession here, the black team in this case, when they have the ball, then a player from their team can move into this space in order to try to receive a ball from a teammate. So if that ball is passed into the open area there, just move this arrow for you, and then we're able to pass into this area and then play our way out to a player on the outside with another pass. And you could have this player, you could say, every time this player receives a ball and plays out, then they have to leave the area so that another player has to make a run into that space. So if somebody's not just camped out in that space, they're moving in and out of that space. And even if a player doesn't receive a ball, let's say the ball is being moved around the outside and we just can't find a way through, this player could make a run outside the box and then have another player come in and fill that space. So, that would be yet another way of playing this. And then when the yellow team gets the ball, obviously, that player would move out, and then the yellow player would look to, find that middle area, and then they find a pass from there. So, it can be a quick transition game there too. So I like all three of those progressions, where you're passing through the area, you're dribbling into it, or you're finding a target inside of it. And you can think of ways that you can use those. This central player would be kind of like your central midfield player. How are we going to play into that center midfielder. I mean, you could use this as a defending activity as well. How are we going to deny that, middle space and really get good pressure, cover, and balance when we're defending to not allow the through ball and to not allow the ball to be played into that space. So you can work on attacking with this, defending, different topics depending on what you want. So I think it's a really functional game from the Man City Academy, and I think it's one that you should definitely give a try with your team.